Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London. This morning I'm looking at a book which has come to us from Sweet and Maxwell. This is the Thomson Reuters organisation. It's an important legal book in a very interesting new area. A new area for a lot of us because to people of my generation, the new technology we have can sometimes mystify us a little bit. So this book is about domain names, strategies and legal aspects. It's been written by Jeanette Sonderland-Saus and Malin Edmar. I hope I pronounced the names correctly. It's got actually a subtitle, Law in Practice. It's an interesting book because domain names are in their own right to some people quite confusing, and so therefore we need to know where we're moving forward with the this particular facility, which is what it is, and the legal aspects thereof. Now, what Elizabeth and I have done, we looked at the book and talked about it, and for our review we've given it this title: Domain Names, Tackling the Legal Aspects, a Must-Have for Practitioners. Now, I'll talk about the review in a minute. Let's have a look at the book first. It's quite a small book. There it is, there. It's a hardback. There's the spine, and then there's the back. And the back has quite a lot of information. It basically sets out what's in the book there, and it gives you a little bit of information about the laws. It's a small book, runs to something approaching, 117 pages in total. There's the index. So there's quite a nice little index to set you going right at the back, depending on what you're looking for. And the index is actually done on the basis of paragraph numbering, not page numbers. So that will make it a bit easier. And you can see with the main text, it's paragraph numbering. There is a little bit of footnoting from time to time, but you've got quite a lot of, in fact, a little bit more footnoting there. But you have got the paragraph numbering system. Now there's the front page, which gives you some idea of what's in it. It's a light book, and there isn't very much in terms of weight. There isn't a great deal to lug around, unlike our practice books. There's an introduction which is well worth reading, which will give you some idea. It sets the scene, I think, very well. It says it's hard to imagine something more global than the addressing system on the internet, which is what this is all about. And that's actually written, the introduction is written by Anders Hector, who sets the scene very well. Then there's an abbreviation section. Very important, I think, abbreviations in this area, because I don't know what they're talking about sometimes until I've looked at the abbreviations and I get a better picture. That's the contents itself, the section. There are 6 chapters in total. There are some cases, because there's been a bit of case law, not very much, obviously international, and then you've got the international legislation, rules and policies, some regulations and so forth. Then we go straight into chapter 1, domain names and the internet. What is the internet? And it then sets it out. I'm not going to go into detail because it sets it out. It sets out a bit of history, and what it does is I think it explains things very, very well in a simple format for even the thickest lawyers like myself, frankly, to understand, because I really have had problems being baffled by some of the changes until, of course, you can sit down and talk about it and then appreciate what it means and try to work out its effectiveness, perhaps for your business, and of course when you have a dispute between parties, how do you advise the relevant people? And of course that also, because this is a law in practice book, that will give you the benefits you need. So this is what we say about the book. Think you know all about domain names? Think again, you may not. If you're a practitioner, the subject can be unexpectedly complicated, in which case this new title from Thomson Reuters Sweet and Maxwell offers the guidance you need to help you provide informed advice to clients in the acquiring and handling of domain names, including, of course, the all-important legal aspects. And the 2 authors, that's Jeanette Sonderland-Saus and Malin Edmar, have brought together a wealth of expertise to those who, while all too familiar possibly with domain names, are perhaps only dimly aware of the possible legal hazards, especially intellectual property issues. And you can see immediately the IP influence coming here because of the growth of IP in what I would suggest is probably the last 30 years. It has substantially changed, I would suggest, the way we look at some parts of the legal world. And that is quite a massive impact. When we're viewing that, let's say in 50 years' time, and looking back at what's happening now, you get some idea of where we're going. Now, both of the authors of this book are lawyers, and Jeanette Sondland-South is a specialist in domain name law and is a well-known consultant in the industry and has handled many dispute resolution matters, both at national and at international level, under dispute resolution procedures. Again, that's another area which it's still going to increase because that is the favoured method in many ways of trying to deal with disputes, unless both sides are so dug in that you're really only going to have the adversarial system to prove your point, and then a decision is made. Now, Malin Edmar, the other author, is an attorney on intellectual property rights and e-commerce law, and he's worked at Microsoft in the United States of America, providing legal services relating to product development and online services. So both of these authors come, I would suggest, with impeccable credentials. The book addresses, of course, a number of areas of inquiry, from the basic to the complex, and it's written in a nice style, which I liked. What, first of all, is a domain name then? What indeed is the internet? We all use it, but how many of us really know the answer to that one? Let's start off with that. Although complex, unless you're an IT expert then, the answer is more complicated than you might have realised, but less difficult than you might think. But read the book and you'll find that all is explained clearly, yet in detail, complete with diagrams wherever necessary. This is as clear and succinct an explanation of the inner workings of the net or the web as you'll find anywhere, including the mysteries of the search engines and SEOs, that's search engine optimization. You see why we need an abbreviations section from all of these abbreviations. And also, of course, the need, for example, to check whether a domain name has been penalised or possibly filtered by Google or other search engines. Of prime importance, of course, are the legal aspects which this book identifies, including IP rights themselves, trademarks, service marks, business names and so forth, vis-a-vis domain names, receive thorough coverage with the differences between each discussed in detail together with the legal ramifications. As the authors write in their preface, quote, "The book helps companies and individuals who are interested in owning or using domain names to navigate through rules and practices that are unfamiliar to most people. You're reminded here that domain names can constitute property, so how much should you pay for them, and what happens in case of a dispute?" Let me conclude by saying that this is a handy, portable and yet compact work of reference, but there's a lot of detail in it, of course, produced as part of the Sweeten Maxwell Law in Practice series, which is designed to help practitioners advise clients and or prepare for court, and that's exactly what they do. But practitioner or not, if you are an internet user, we think you'll find this book a fascinating and enlightening read as well, because it does, in simple English, explain the position, I think, in an uncomplicated manner. So thank you to all concerned. The publication date is cited at 2015. Just have another quick look at it. It's a very light book, hardback, as I say, spine, and the back of it there. Just opening it right in the middle, let's go to, this is chapter 4 rather, on strategies. It says, a company's domain name strategy is closely connected to its brand strategy. Remember, the title of this is Strategies and Legal Aspects. I think strategically it's an important thing to think about, because this is the way that business is going. We as lawyers are in business, as well as offering specific pieces of advice about how we conduct ourselves in the marketplace and so forth. I've found this book extremely helpful, and I'd like to thank everybody concerned for producing it. It's the sort of thing we do need within the profession, as the profession changes so much with the new things that are happening. It's an exciting time to be a lawyer. Thank you to all concerned. Bye-bye.